Johanna, I did hit record this time. Aren't you proud of me? Okay, we'll go ahead and start. My name is Bob Bickle. I'm the founder of RunSignup, and today's webinar is about a new project that we have started developing. It won't be available for a while. I'll talk more about that later. But we want to give everybody an update on what we're doing, how we're doing it, the approach that we're taking, and kind of seek feedback as we go through this development process. If you get totally bored with this webinar, we do have others that are probably better than mine, but and you see them here. So we try to hold them every week or two on Wednesdays at 2 o'clock Eastern. And we're building up a pretty decent library of content that is useful for people to take a look at. So let's dive in. So we had announced at last summer symposium the overall program of RaceDay Go, and it's a platform that's made up of a number of different products. And it's going to evolve over time to include more, as well as more integration of those. A number of these individual projects are available today to use, and I'll kind of go around the circle here about what the RaceDay Go platform is. One point to make is that RDGo is branded as such because we view it as an open platform that is separate from RunSignup registration. We expect that over time other registration companies will hook in with this more and more. Other timing companies, other chip companies, etc., will want to utilize some of the functionality that is offered here, either on a piecemeal basis or more holistically. So in the pre-race mode, we have a number of different offerings. We have RaceDay Bibs and RaceDay Corrals. These things are things that you find in the RunSignup dashboard today. With RaceDay Bibs, we've got probably a half dozen different ways to do assignment of bibs. With Corrals, we've got a very flexible, very powerful corral system that will automatically put people into corrals, or will allow people to choose corrals, allow you to manage them, and so forth. For the other two things that are kind of more right before the race, we have RaceDay Sign Up and RaceDay Check-in. Those are actually native Apple and Android apps, as well as web apps in the case of some of these. And the RaceDay Sign Up includes a secure PCI compliant swiper. So you can actually allow people to swipe credit cards and so forth right on RaceDay. RaceDay Check-in is a pretty functional mobile app that has a number of different modes that you can set for like really fast check-in. So just like scan a QR code or a barcode and go with your phone camera, up to having people sign a waiver with their finger on your iPhone or tablet or something like that. During the race, probably our premier product in this area is the Race Director, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. But that's the PC scoring package that lots of timers use to actually figure out who's third in their age group. RaceDay Scoring is the main purpose of this webinar, and it's the new platform that we're coming out with. RaceDay Results is currently, you find it under RunSign Up Results, so it's part of the ability for any race to upload or integrate results into their race website. RaceJoy is separately branded. That is our GPS tracking app. Very powerful system that allows me to watch my daughter run a race and figure out when she's coming by my point and so forth. It also allows me to center cheers. And we have recently introduced a number of features that really make it powerful for race directors to be able to monitor their race with RaceJoy. So you can get off-course alerts. You can get you can watch many people on a large-size dashboard. You can utilize it to maybe track some of your volunteers or the trail truck or the lead bike or things like that. It's also being very widely used now for ultramarathons as well as these long relay events because it has this off-course alert capability that actually works even when you're out of satellite range, because you've downloaded the map to your individual phone and you can tell because of GPS if you've made a right-hand turn instead of a left-hand turn, and the app actually notifies you as an individual. So pretty cool stuff. As well as you combine that with the monitoring stuff back at the central station, you're able to see if runners have gone off course, and a lot of safety features there. RaceDay Results is now in production. That was in beta for probably 4 or 5 months, getting really excellent reviews on that. It's basically a free photo platform. You upload photos to it. You have maybe you either have a professional or maybe even just hire some college student who does photography come to your race and take photos and upload those into RunSign Up. If you've got the bib assignments there in RunSign Up, it automatically tags the people for you utilizing Google Vision, and you can open up things like crowdsourced photo tagging and so forth. And then RaceDay Results is also a mobile app that you can, it's really designed to be used as a kiosk. So a timer might have a number of different tablets or computers, and they use RaceDay Results as a mechanism to display all that. All of these things can be used in a plug-and-play way. So choose the pieces that you want. Don't choose other ones. It's that type of philosophy. So let's go into RaceDay Go. So as I said, it's a family of offerings. It's going to come out and kind of get coalesced, as we'll talk towards the end of this presentation, as an independent offering. So basically, you're going to pay the same price. It's really targeted for timers as what they currently pay for the race director today, and that's either $300 or $600 per year, depending upon the volume. It's an open platform. It's going to integrate with kind of any timing system. Any registration integration will have this open API so that people will be able to feed into it. We'll be able to have it open in terms of results integrations. And we are branding it separately from RunSign Up to encourage that broad type of adoption. So, so that's kind of the basics there. Let's talk a little bit about Race Director. Race Director is our PC product that was developed by Roger Bradshaw 20 plus years ago. It's very widely used. There's probably about 500 timers across the world that use it. Last year, we estimate that it was used to score about 11 million finishers, probably in the same type of range as RunScore, the other kind of famous package done by Alan Jones. It works with all chip systems, and it supports a wide variety of different types of races. Roger joined the RunSign Up team in January of 2015. And part of the reason that he did is that he felt that there was a need to have something beyond a PC-based product. And so we've kind of been talking and going back and forth on different approaches of how to do things, and also finishing up a number of other projects so that we could free enough development staff to go after this, this ambitious project diligently. And so we have started that now. So RaceDay Scoring is the result of that. It's this next generation of the race director. It's not going to replace the race director overnight. It's meant to be a kind of parallel offering that will grow in terms of its features and functionality over the next, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. And we would expect that a number of our race director customers would actually utilize both in parallel for a while. And once they get comfortable with RaceDay Scoring, that they will probably be interested in moving more and more over to RaceDay Scoring as time goes on. The goals of the project is to introduce and build upon modern computing architectures, and to try to get to this Goldilocks area. So typically, Race Director is known as kind of easy to use because it has menus and stuff, and RunScore is kind of known to be super powerful, but maybe a little difficult to use. We're trying to go for something in the middle, where it's going to have ease of use with things like wizards and so forth, but then also be completely customizable and have kind of a next generation mode of how RunScore has listing files to be able to offer that type of openness to create your own scoring mechanisms. And we'll talk more about that. It's not going to be just a web mode type of application. It will be available on PC natively and on Mac natively. So you'll be able to run it standalone locally, not connected to the internet. We want to make it a very scalable architecture, distributed architecture, so that real-time updates can be made on a very distributed basis. And we want to make it open. Just like one of the things that's made Race Director so open is we want to take that and actually take it to new levels of openness. So open architecture for race and event definitions, timing equipment, modular scoring mechanisms, and many output options. And the other kind of goal of the project is kind of combined with the RaceJoy data that we receive on GPS data. We want to weave that into gun and chip timing more and more closely. We started doing that where all results get pushed up to RunSignup, actually now appear in RaceJoy as native results. And we've just made an update that's coming out on the latest versions of Apple and Android over the next week that will make it really nice for RunScore users who upload to RunSignup or to RunScore results, that gets automatically incorporated into the RaceJoy as well. What this does is kind of the opposite way. So we'll take that RaceJoy GPS data and use that as a mechanism to score things and to provide results types of capabilities in parallel. This is the architecture of the system. So reading from left to right, basically we'll have this connector, and connector will integrate with different timing chip systems, GPS systems, and then straight files. And then that will push data into a timing location filters. These filters will then be utilized to pass kind of standardized format into the master scoring engine. The master scoring engine will then communicate and collaborate with a variety of different things locally on client machines on a local area network that you might have at the race site, as well as sending things to RunSignup or this new kind of massively real-time update capability that we'll be delivering. So let's kind of go from left to right so you understand what is out there. So connector and timing location filters. So timing location is kind of a new key concept. That's where you're going to be taking the timing. time. It might be a chip, it might be a mat, it might be the start line, it might be the finish line, it might be a GPS mile point, it could be any combination of those sorts of things. The first part of that is the connector, and we are going to build connectors to all the popular types of chip systems out there. It's going to be an open plug-in type of an architecture, so it will be relatively easy to plug in individual timer components. And we are looking at implementing this such that it can run locally on a Mac or a PC, or it can run from the cloud. And the other thing that we intend to do with this, in all likelihood, is actually open source the entire connector engine. And the purpose of that is so that we can collaborate with partners, and timing chip companies can actually work to improve their, their connector software and so forth in collaboration with us. On the filter side, basically, we're going to include all the options currently that timers find in Race Director for applying filters to the data. And then you'll be able to kind of add your own reusable filters. So that filtering mechanism, we're going to provide two interfaces to it. One is graphical, so you'll be able to, kind of filter data out based upon, greater than or less than and things like that. And then you'll also have a standardized JSON format that will you'll be able to use and define to that timing location filter engine what you want done for that filter. And then that outputs into a standardized passing format to the scoring engine. That standardized passing format will also be documented as a standard JSON type of mechanism, so that other people could actually replace this whole front end of the connector and timing location and pass directly into the scoring engine themselves if they want to at some point in time. So you can tell that we're taking this very open approach, that the components themselves are plug and play, and then inside the components themselves, they become expandable. So let's talk about the race definition. You'll see up here in the upper right that there's this, what looks like the start of a wizard. These are all just kind of wireframes. They're just rough drawings. Don't pay attention too closely to them. Don't be too critical of them yet. Because they're still a work in process and there's no real code behind these quite yet. But it's probably best to explain this not in the order that a wizard goes in, but kind of this order. So let's talk about the race definition. The race definition is made up of these timing points. These are the orange things here, and then the segments, and that's what you're passing between those two timing points. The timing locations, as you can see up here in this chart, or in the screenshot of what a wireframe might look like, is that you define a timing location, and then you can have multiple devices at each timing location. So these timing devices might be an RFID reader. It might be an iPad where I'm punching, every time somebody comes through, or a time machine, or GPS data from RaceJoy. And you'll be able to add devices easily to this chain, and you'll be able, kind of the order of this is the order that you would take. So if the RFID reader missed a bib, maybe the time machine or the iPad picked it up. So you'll be able to kind of collect the data as best as possible as you go through here. So all this will be available in the wizard when you're setting up your race. It'll also be available as a dashboard component where you'll be able to customize it, on the fly as you're out in the race in the middle of the heat of the moment and so forth. Again, this is all going to have standard JSON definition to it. So if you don't want to utilize these menu-driven sorts of mechanisms, and you want to develop your own UI or something like that, you'll be able to define that JSON itself. And one of the reasons we're doing that is that you kind of define all this stuff today in Race Director. And what we want to do is we want to make it easy for us to write some code that actually takes the definition of a race in Race Director and redefine it to the definition that makes up RaceDay Scoring. And we're hoping that other people might want to do that as well in the future. So let's look at the scoring engine. The scoring engine is really the thing that kind of really drives this whole thing and produces the results and stuff. It's being built in Node.js and React, and there's some other tools that we're utilizing as well that will allow us to, off of one code base, generate a Windows app, a Mac app, and a web version. And so we think that this is the right way to do it. We've done some initial performance testing and feel satisfied that JavaScript has the performance needed to be able to do these sorts of things. The scoring engine will include local storage itself, as well as replication engine. What the replication engine does is it talks from the master scoring engine to other scoring engines that are out as configured as clients. You'll have a race definition, and then above that is the scoring module, and we'll talk a little bit about the scoring module next. First, before we get into the details of scoring module, let's talk a little bit about the concept of categories. So there's going to be a variety of different categories that you'll be able to lump participants into. One of the ones is going to be age category. And so again, don't pay too much attention to the design of this, but understand that we're going to be trying to come up with useful, fast ways of creating age groups and reusing those age groups. So you see one of these things up here in the upper left-hand corner is this load preset. So you'll be able to have presets that come out of the box with what we send as part of RaceDay Scoring, and you'll be able to kind of save your own presets down here in the bottom right-hand side. So this one's, loads a preset of 10 years, so 20 to 29, 30 to 39, and so forth and so on. And it tries to make it easy to define these and to kind of define also some of the other parameters that might be associated with it, like how many award winners are there per age group. Categories is an open concept, pretty much like everything else that we're trying to do in RaceDay Scoring. So think of it, any kind of question that you ask during registration could be turned into a category. So common things like Clydesdales or Athenas or first timers. And you can see how we're designing it to be kind of any type of data. And how we will enable you to have some mapping options here into your how you're kind of designing your categories and naming them and so forth. The categories will have different sorts of things like ordering. So you'll have top finisher categories. And so overall, so say if I won a race, I would take overall first place first, and then masters first place, because I'm a little guy. But you can define how those jumping rules are applied in this and kind of configure all of that stuff up front. And then it's going to be easy to copy that setup between, say, male and female, and between your various different events. The other thing again here is that we have this idea of saving these presets and loading various different presets into the system. So how does that all relate to the scoring modules? So that's kind of defining the data that is going to be used by the scoring module to figure out what the score is going to be. So the scoring module at the big outside box is going to be reusable, and each of the individual boxes inside of it are going to be reusable as well. And you'll be able to have multiple scoring modules running kind of in parallel. So as people cross the finish line, you'll have these different scoring modules and different outputs actually firing off simultaneously in parallel. And basically what it's going to be doing is it's going to be looking for a scoring entity. And scoring entities typically are going to be individuals or teams. Now these submodules are going to basically be executed serially, like one after the other. So the computed fields are things like age. You're going to figure out what the age is based upon the date of birth. And we're going to have like a submodule for computing the age. Filters. You're going to have a filter for, say, age group. You'll have a filter for male or female or other. You'll have a variety of different sort functions, for example, sort on chip time. And then you'll have a variety of different output functions. So print, show on screen, post results to RunSign Up, post results to athlinks, etc. And as I said, we'll have a number of prepackaged modules and submodules. And then we're going to provide a visual builder tool for creating your own. And once you create your own, you'll be able to reuse them. And what our ambition is to actually have like a shareable public library. So if you develop some cool way of scoring cross-country meet or something like that, you'd be able to upload that and share it with the rest of the RaceDay Scoring community and reuse it. So if I'm operating independently, like not on the web, I'm just local, and say I've got five PCs or 5 Macs that I'm timing with. One of those is going to be the master, and you'll be able to switch the master back and forth between the master and the clients. But basically, this is a way. It's kind of like a architecture to deal with making sure you don't have data duplication and stuff, or race conditions and so forth. So all this data is going to be shared and updated across the local client, local area network to all the clients pretty much dynamically. And the idea then is that you have different clients serving different purposes. So you might have somebody that's doing data entry and typing in paper entries. You might have another client, another PC that's being used as like an announcer screen. You might have another client that's being used to drive a TV that has a leaderboard on it, and so forth. So the architecture that we're using, we are hoping that it supports on the order of 100 clients simultaneously. So the idea is that you'd have your own private little wireless network there. All of your machines then are able to sync to each other and communicate with each other in that local area of the race. This is a concept that we also want to do. So we developed some technology as part of the RunSign Up real-time map stuff that we do that allows for massive real-time updates. So you could have like thousands of people watching the leaderboard, and as soon as the second place finisher comes across, that will get communicated and distributed in real time. It's kind of similar to how like lots of people might want to watch live TV or something like that via the web. It's utilizing similar types of technology, so it allows for this massive distribution of data in real time. We'll do RunSign Up Integration, which probably won't surprise you. So one of the pieces would be like the race definition download. Well, I already know in RunSign Up that there's a 5K and a 10K. Why not download that? I already know what the start time is from RunSign Up. I know the name of the race. I know, a bunch of the information. Also, it will do participant bidirectional syncing. And then we're going to also do automated uploads to RunSign Up. So just like from Race Director or RunScore, lots of timers do automated uploads to RunSign Up for results, posting and sending notifications and integrating with race day photos and stuff. We're going to do the same thing basically from RaceDay Scoring. And it will integrate with the RunSign Up profiles. So timer profiles and access to races will all work in that type of mode. So the other thing that we're going to be developing is a new website. And you can really think of that new website as a dashboard for timers and as a tool set for timers. So right now, a lot of timers have a partner account and they view their list of races in the partner account. What this is going to be, it's kind of going to be similar, but it's all going to be around kind of the race day part of it. So all this Race Day Go feature capability, the photos and the bib and the corrals and the scoring and everything's going to be tied together in a single dashboard. Basically, if a timer has Race Director PC 2017, they will have full access to Race Day Go. If they don't have Race Director PC, then they'll need to buy the subscription. And when they buy this subscription, they'll also get access to a free copy of the Race Director PC. So basically, think of it becoming one thing over time. And we also intend to create a number of new tools for timers where we're going to manage races for payments, scheduling, and resource allocation. What we want to do is we want to provide tools for timers to basically map out their schedule. So they're going to time 30 races this year, map them out, what race is going to go in July 4th, what race is going to be on Thanksgiving, etc. And enable invoicing capability. So you'd be able to figure out what your price is and create an invoice to the race. And then what we also want to do is enable different payment mechanisms between races and timers that would be agreed to by the race and the timer through a systematic mechanism. So right now, a lot of timers, it's very, very ad hoc, and it's kind of done in a haphazard way of renewing your races every year and so forth. This will help automate it and formalize it a bit, and potentially one of the things that we're hoping to offer is that say you're charging $3 per participant. As people are registering, we take that $3, put it into an escrow account, and then when results are uploaded, we basically release that escrow account from the race to the timer. And so the race doesn't have to worry about writing a check to the timer or anything like that. And the timer doesn't have to worry about collections and so forth. And we're hoping to also build into that scheduling mechanism the ability to at least do some simple resource allocation. So a timer might have two timing teams. So they could say Team A is going to take this race and Team B is going to take this race. And some of the components, so you might have 3 chip systems, 3 timing systems. You might say timing system 1 and 2 are going to go with Team A this weekend, and timing system 3 is going to go with Team B. So that's kind of the long-term goal here. So it's a pretty ambitious vision, that's kind of like what we live for. We live for kind of building cool technology that is That's pretty hard to do, that people don't really have the resources or the time to do on their own. But hopefully develop it in such a way that a lot of people use it and gain benefit out of it, and and we make a decent business out of it. The business, I have a blog on this, but the business case is not from that $300 or $600. In a lot of ways, like, this is a pretty major gift to the timer community. Like, there's no way you get this much software for that cheap. It just doesn't make economic sense. But it's really kind of funded from our registration. So hopefully a lot of timers make recommendations to races to use us for registration. So we can expect early beta releases by this summer timeframe. Work has begun on this, and the team is super excited about it. And we're I put up a different blog about this, asking people to be a little bit patient with us on kind of our normal pace of other things that are going on, because we're allocating a fair amount of development resource to do this. We're hoping to be production quality by the fall timeframe, and a goal would be to score cross-country team results. So we'd love to have a leaderboard that's much like Roger's leaderboard in Race Director, where as runners are coming across the line, you see a dynamic, list of the individuals building, and you also see a dynamic list of the teams and their scores building. And as soon as a team gets a complete score, then the color changes and becomes frozen at first place. Or if it's still questionable, when the 5th man and 6th man are coming in and so forth, you might see the first place and second place teams switching back and forth and stuff like that. So, and imagine that, utilizing that real-time capability. So all the coaches, all the moms and dads, all the kids that were part of the first 5 kids across the line are all sitting on their phones, subscribed to this real-time mechanism to put out this leaderboard. It'd be pretty cool. I'm hoping that we're able to pull that off for this cross-country season. And then I would say that it's by this time next year we should be fairly robust. It's not going to have the full capabilities that Race Director and RunScore have. It's not going to have all the algorithms, all the neat features, all the custom stuff. But for the simple races, we should be in at least moderately decent position. And if we're able to pull off this open architecture, it would allow both ourselves as well as other people to kind of continue to enhance the system pretty rapidly. So with that, I am going to go to the questions that have come in. Will there be an option to stream TCP/IP? Yes, absolutely. From middleware, yes, yeah. So we'll hook to kind of the standard types of middleware systems that are out there from MyLapse and ChronoTrack and so forth. And just an aside on that, James Harris, who's the creator of RaceJoy, is actually doing the connector and the filter part of it. He actually has that code working now. RaceJoy, before we acquired them, had this mode where they were actually collecting the data, from the timing systems themselves as well. So they connected to ChronoTrack and MyLapse and Race Result and others, and were able to show kind of both the chip time and the GPS time inside the RaceJoy application. So we're repurposing that code, and obviously James knows how to do that. It's been used. Well, it was used just a week or 2 ago to time the Donna Marathon and stuff. So it's pretty widely used and pretty well known, and so it's quite an advantage to the team that we have. So we have some amazing developers like Steven and Ryan. And we also have industry kind of experts, with Roger and with James and Matt Avery and Megan Carey and so forth. So hopefully we'll do it well. Can you set rules for custom scoring, i.e. anyone who answered question X in reg gets placed in this category? Absolutely. That's the whole purpose of the category stuff, and that's the whole purpose of those combination of the computed fields as well as the filters will give you a lot of power there, and you'll be able to customize that yourself. We get paid on a per registered participant, not a per finisher. This is cost to prepare the timing packs, labors, etc. Yeah, and so when we do that pricing stuff that I talked about, that would be our goal, is to give you that option of picking one or the other for your pricing mechanism. Is it going to be necessary to have a GPS or time machine throughout the route between start and finish? No, you don't have to do anything. You can just put up a chip system, or you could, just use a little iPad to do, start and finish. There's no need for anything. Those are just options that you could put in to your scoring and to your timing locations. Are you going to work with timers during the development to test different phases of the project? Absolutely. So, as soon as we've got something that is, fairly usable and is of kind of alpha-ish quality, we'll probably put it up on one of our test servers and allow timers to play with it. And so, like, one of the connector mechanisms you'll be able to do is to feed it a file, and you'll be able to replay that file at certain speeds and so forth. So what we're hoping to do is to start, putting this out there and getting feedback as real time as we can. We're kind of well known in our development methodology for doing kind of continuous development, continuous releases. So we'll continue that for sure. So am I understanding, this is Julie Stark, so am I understanding correctly, split points at tries would be able to auto-upload to RD scoring and not have to go back through the main computer to be loaded? So yes, that I believe is true. So, so it depends on how you want to hook your timing mats together with your client PCs, with your master scoring engine and so forth. But you should have a fair amount of flexibility on all that in terms of networking. What does this mean for RunScore timers? So we've been keeping Alan and Steve and Dave up to date on the development. We gave them this presentation a couple weeks ago, have been getting feedback from them. I really want to try to find a way to make this work really well with RunScore and RunScore timers. So that the reality is that it's a different scoring platform than RunScore. I could see what could happen would be something similar to how a number of timers who are Chronotrack timers time in parallel between RunScore and CT Live. So I could see a number of RunScore timers doing that. And, because they've been using RunScore, it's like the trusted way to go. They keep using that. But maybe they intermingle, RaceDay Scoring with that some and take advantage of some of its features, maybe like that real-time cross-country update, Alan and I had an email exchange a few months ago about how dominant RunScore is at the college cross-country championship level. Every district, all the NCAAs, all use RunScore as their standard mechanism for producing all of that. And maybe that's the connection to the TFRS stuff. So hopefully it's something that RunScore users can utilize. We've had some discussions with Alan and Steve about the idea of potentially creating, kind of in Race Director, what we're doing is we're creating, converters, if you will, from the definition of a race in Race Director to be converted over to RaceDay Scoring. There hopefully would be a similar type of potential to take runscore.ini.frm and listing files and potentially convert them into these little submodules, these definitions of like the race definition, the categories, the filters, the output mechanisms, and so forth. So we'll see how that goes. From Ed Hartwell, will Megan be doing the wobble dance to celebrate the release of this new product? I hope so, and if she does, then we'll have to get that on video. I've not seen Megan do the wobble dance, so you're going to have to tell me what that is, Ed. And I think that's it for the questions. Any more, you can type in a question into the little box. Yeah, I hope she does the wobble dance, kind of as we increment along this thing. All right, so we'll post this recording up after this is over, and yeah, feel free to send us email with suggestions and questions and so forth, and probably in another month or so we'll do another one of these just to give people an update on it, because we'll try to keep people informed as we go along. Thanks everybody for joining us, and see you in another week or two.